So we're gonna today we're gonna cover a little bit about getting digitally organized. And Maria said enough about me. Long time at UCLA. I was at UCLA for even more years before I started working full time. So I've been here forever. And that's all I'm going to say about myself. I'm going to turn it over to Gabriel to start it, and then we'll switch back and forth.
Thank you, Kumar, and thank you, Maria, and thank you for having us here to share some information about getting digitally organized. So thank you for the warm introduction. So what Kumar and I will be going over today is just sharing some online digital organizational options available to retiring retirees. There's many that are out there. We'll be touching on one and sharing information on others that are available. We'll go over some of the software elements and demo some of the features. And we'll also talk about how these tools are available from pretty much any device, whether it's your computer or your cell phone or your tablet. All right, Kumar.
Yes, I've lost all my screens. There you go. Hi. So today we're going to cover one set of tools from Google that UCLA has provided everyone access to. There are other tools as well that are similar in terms of the breadth, and then there are limited tools that are available that focus on one or two things. We're going to cover a little bit more detail. Actually, the details we're going to cover are about the Google set of products. The name keeps changing, as the slide shows. It used to be called Google Suite. Sometimes it's called Google Apps for Education, and Google now calls it Google Workspace. So just know that it's from Google, and it gives you a whole bunch of things that you can use. I'm going to talk about two specific items, and it also has a whole variety of other tools, and Gabriel's going to talk about two specific items. Let me just cover the overview of the items that I'm going to cover, and then I'm going to show you a demo of how those items work. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Google Mail. I'm sure many of you already use it. I don't want to get into. Gabriel, can you switch the slide? Yeah. Oops. Many of you probably use Google Mail already, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I'll show you a couple of little things that you can do with it that you might find interesting to use. It's secure, and you have lots of space, so you don't have to worry about, oh, do I need to keep it or delete it? But you may want to delete things just because it'll get confusing if you keep them. But there's no limit for how much mail you can keep. And the app is also available on the phone, as many of you may already know. And I'll also show a demo of both the web version and the app version. The other tool that I'm going to focus on is called Keep. Gabriel. And this is a tool that helps me a lot. It keeps, you can have lists, you can have notes, you can have reminders, and then it's also available on the web if you're at home, and if it's also available as an app on your phone or tablet on the go. So I'm going to switch to a demo at this point of some of these things. Let me share my, oops, 1 second. Okay, I'm ready to share. Come on, where is it? Share. Okay. Can you guys see my empty browser?
No.
Yeah, Gabriel, you need to.
I'll stop sharing there.
Yeah,
That's fine.
we see it now.
Okay, empty browser. Okay. So you go to as you've seen, I've done it a few times, g.ucla.edu. And there are some links here that'll tell you if you don't have an account, how to activate it. And g.ucla.edu is available to retirees. You sign in with your UCLA logon ID. And if you've signed into UCLA, you know that it has what's called multi-factor authentication, where it'll send you confirmation on your phone. So I'm going to confirm that it's me. And by default, it's going to take me to my mail. Before I talk about mail, I'm going to talk about a few other tools that Google offers. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that it's branded UCLA where I'm moving my mouse. Next to that, you can see these dots, which show you a lot of the tools that Google has to offer. Some of these I'm sure you know, and I'm going to talk through some of them briefly. And then, as I mentioned, I'll cover a little bit more detail about two tools, and Gabriel is going to cover a little bit more detail about two other tools. Gmail is the basic one. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Gabriel's going to talk about Drive. Doc sheets and slides are similar to Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or Microsoft PowerPoint. These are free online tools that Google provides, and you can save them in Google Drive as well. Google has Calendar also, and all of these have apps on your phone and tablets as well. Meet is like Zoom, Google's version of Zoom. I'm going to skip some of these things because we don't have enough time to cover all of these. YouTube, I'm sure you all know what YouTube is. Maps, I'm sure you all use maps as you drive around and things like that. Photos, Gabriel is going to cover photos. Translate, by the way, is really good. So if you're, if you see a foreign word that you don't know, or if you're traveling, things like that, Translate's a really cool tool. Let me see what else. Hangouts is like WhatsApp from Google. And Jamboard's kind of cool if you want to kind of write and draw on the fly. It gives you a little blank screen and you can use your mouse to draw, things like that. So that's a set of tools that Google offers. And just to show you one or two things about email, which you may not know, we all use email, but I don't want to bore you with email itself, but I'll show you a couple of tricks with email that you may not have used. Oops, where did it go? There. So I'm going to send an email to Gabriel. One of the things that I wanted to mention is if you send people to email and if there's something that you want to attach, like a photo or a spreadsheet or anything, there's that little paperclip icon that you can use. Click on the paperclip icon. Where did it go? Oh, they keep changing things, so they want to. Oh, there you go. And then I forgot what I was sending. Catalog search error. So just send an attachment. I just want to show you one other thing, little trick that you can use if you're doing this in the middle of the night and you don't want people to know that you're doing it. You can schedule a send at a different time so that it'll go, on Tuesday morning instead of Monday at midnight. So that's all I was going to show about email. Email's pretty easy. Everyone uses it, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. If there's any questions, I can field them at this point. I'm going to switch to this Keep tool, which is kind of cool. I use Keep a lot, and as you'll see on my phone as well. Keep is a really simple way to take notes and lists and things like that. So it gives you this interface where if you just click here, you can just do, test note. title test, right? And then you close, and then it creates this test node. You can also create lists. As you can see, I have one here. And then you can add item 3. Got it. Close. One of the other things that you can do is reminder, which is if you want call John, right? I can say, remind me, pick a date and time. I need to call John on Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Or I can make it call him monthly, save, close. So that's kind of cool. So those are the only things I wanted to show with Keep. Any people have questions about Google Keep? I'm going to demo the same things on the phone in a minute. Is it too basic? Is it okay? Silence is good or what?
No, this is good.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to switch to showing you my phone, how this works on a phone. Give me 1 second while I open it up. Go back to my Zoom. Share screen. Okay, you're going to see my phone. Do you see my phone?
Yes.
Okay. I use an Android phone, so it's going to look a little different if you use an Apple phone. Gabriel will show you some items on the Apple as well. So this mail is the Gmail on the phone. And I don't know if you know, you can set up Google phones to have multiple accounts. As you can see, I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts here. I'm showing you the 6 accounts here. I'm showing you my Google Apps account. And it's pretty much the same. You compose and you can do the same stuff, and then the same paperclip icon on the top that you can see. And then the little arrow will do the send, right? So there's also the schedule send that I talked to you about, which is if you click on these 3 dots, gives you the schedule send. And then I'm going to show you Keep. Keep is exactly the same on the phone. Oops. Went away. 1 second. Let me bring it back. Okay. Is it back? Not yet. Share. Share. Okay. Should be back now. Yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so it's the same thing, right? So no different. Add an item, item 4. 4. And then same thing here, reminder. You can change the reminder, things like that. Delete. And that's the end of my demo. Let's turn it back to Gabriel.
All right, I'll go ahead and share the screen here, and I'm going to touch on Google Drive. So Google Drive is a free cloud storage provided by Google. Now, if we take a step away from Google and just kind of think about what are some ideal cloud storage features, some of those include file versioning. What's nice about that is that as you edit files, it keeps track of those. So if you make a mistake, you can go back to a previous version. You want also automatic syncing, which helps with backup. So any changes made on your phone can be easily reflected on when you view that same document on your computer. You want easy to view, edit, view and edit features, and also tools that allow you to collaborate and share files easily. Security is always important, so you want secure transfer and access. And Kumar showed you some of that with logging in to your Google account, and it has multi-factor authentication to ensure that you are the person you say you are and you're accessing the files that are there. And flexible storage capacity. So as that compares to Google Drive, Google Drive has all of those features. File versioning is automatic, so you don't even have to worry about it. As you save files into Google Drive, it's like your external hard drive in the cloud. It'll keep track of those versions for you. So if you're editing a PowerPoint document and wanted to go to a previous version, it'll be there for you. As you set this up on your mobile device, the syncing is automatic. So if unfortunate phone were to fall into water and get damaged, because the content is synced, your data is a separate copy is there, and it's protected from that perspective. And there's a desktop, mobile, and tablet applications that are available there. From a security perspective, the data is secured in transit using a protocol called secure sockets layer. So you might see in a URL where it says HTTPS, the S is for secure. So at least while in transit, that data is secure. And because of the access that UCLA provides you with the UCLA Google Suite, there's an unlimited storage space. So that was around email and Google Drive space, and also photos, which we'll be touching on in a little bit. Any questions or comments before I jump into a demo here? All right, so let me switch over to iPad. Hopefully you can see the iPad there. Is that coming up for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, great. So I'm going to go into Gmail, and here's the email that Kumar had sent with the screenshot. I'll just reply to him real quick. Got it, thanks. And there was an attachment he sent. And on the upper right, there is a little icon here that with the triangle and a plus. And what it says is that it saved that attachment not on your local computer, but within your Google Drive allocation. So it doesn't take up space on your local computer. I'm going to switch over here to the iOS, the Apple Google Drive application. And you'll see a couple of versions of the document because we were practicing earlier. So this was the attachment he sent, and I can see the attachment there. But essentially, this is like a hard drive in the cloud stored in Google servers. So you can create a folder structure that makes sense to you, and store and upload files as needed. There are you can mount this on your computer so it looks like a hard drive. You can access this on your mobile device as you're out and about, and look at different folders and files that are there. That was a brief intro into Google Photos. I'm going to switch back and talk about Google Photos. Okay, now Google Photos is a photo sharing and storage service developed by Google. So if you're taking photos on your phone, or you're taking photos and importing them onto your computer, Google Photos is a cloud-aware storage location for your photos, so you can access them from any device. You can set up photos and videos to automatically upload. So kind of going back to that automatic syncing, it just handles it for you in the background. So again, if you took a precious photo on your phone, it's automatically synced to the cloud. So it's essentially backed up, but you can also then access it from another device like your computer. You can decide to move the photo from your phone to the Google Cloud space. So that frees up space on your phone. So I don't know if sometimes you get a pop-up message on your phone saying that you're running out of space. So this helps move that. It has unlimited storage. There are some limitations there with high quality photos. So if you have a powerful digital camera that takes high quality photos, there might be a little bit of limitations there, but you can still store high quality versions of those photos. It does have features for video and movies and making collages and making albums. So sometimes it'll do that automatically for you. So as you start collecting pictures, if it senses that you're at a particular location, like the Grand Canyon, maybe 6 months later, you might see a memory collage or album that it auto-generated for you based on those pictures. And you may have seen something like that if you're using a service like this already. Being part of Google, there's a powerful search function, so you can search pictures as well. It also allows you to share photos and videos with others. So if you did go to the Grand Canyon, so to speak, and you wanted to share those with others, it essentially hosts those pictures for you, and you can send a link out to others to view. We talked about the memories piece, and it is relatively intuitive to use. I'll switch over to demoing that here. And similarly, there's a separate Google Photos application that allows you to easily upload photos. It allows you to create albums. There are some utilities here that are available to clean up, clear the clutter, and share, easily create animations, create a movie. So this is all within the application itself. You can create an album, created a UCLA album. Here, I uploaded some photos there. And similar to Drive, it automatically syncs those photos up, allows you to organize them as that makes sense for you, but it also does some automatic organization for you as well. That could be handy. I'm gonna switch back to the slide here. And are there any questions while I switch over?
We have some questions in the chat. Do you want me just to call them out to you, or how do you want to do that, Gabriel?
Oh, great. Yeah, let's see here. Let me bring that up and take a look at those questions.
I have, Gabriel, I have some searches ready that I can address some of those questions.
Oh, okay, great.
If you stop sharing, then I can
Do you
share
wanna,
my,
yeah. Sure.
Okay. Okay. Do people see my browser now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there were some questions related to how do I get an account at UCLA? So I did this is just Google. If you do a search for UCLA logon within Google, you get the result. The second result is the one that I'm going to focus on. And when you click on that, it takes you here. The UCLA logon, when you click on that, it takes you to the screen I was just showing you. And don't have a UCLA logon, create a UCLA logon ID. So if you don't have one, most of you should have one if you've created one while you were working here. If you've been away from the university for a while, then you didn't, then this is how you would create an account, UCLA logon. It's beneficial to create it with your student ID or employee ID in here. So if you have If you have a 9-digit ID, then it's better because it'll give you access to more things. If you create it without one, then it's almost like, anyone in the world creating an account, it'll give you very limited access. So that's how you create your account. So just do a search for UCLA logon, and you'll see the UCLA logon result, and that's where you start to create your account. So once you have that account, you go into g.ucla.edu, and then you sign in with your UCLA logon ID, and that I showed you earlier. And then there was another question about mounting Google Drive on the PC. So I just did a search for mount Google Drive to PC, and it tells you exactly how to do it, right? So there's an app that you can download, and Gabriel may have. I don't have that app. Do you, Gabriel? Do you have that app?
Yeah, I just posted the link there in the chat as well, that there is an app for your PC or Mac that lets you mount your Google Drive and treat it like an external drive for you directly to place files back and forth.
Right. And as far as the spouse question goes, I don't know. I guess you have to share your account with your spouse, or I think that might be the only way you can
to get the full function of
to get the full functionality. Otherwise, you can, the spouse can use the, Google gives you a lot of things for free, but then storage is limited, right? The free Google email, for example, is a 15 gigabyte limit. So photos and things like that, you have more limits if you use the free account. You still get quite a bit for most people. So.
Then there was a question there on the best strategy to back up an Android phone.
Android phone, actually, a lot of things automatically get backed up. You just have to, there'll be a pop-up that comes. I just reset my phone yesterday, and Google will say your phone is not being backed up. Do you want to do it? And you just say yes, and it'll back up your settings and apps and your text messages. A lot of things get automatically backed up with the newer versions of Android. So as long as you allow it to do so, it'll do that for you. You can put any kinds of files you want in Google Drive. I don't think there's any real restriction. I'm sure it checks for viruses and things like that, but otherwise you can store anything on Google Drive.
Yeah, and the file size limit, I believe, is a 5 terabyte file size limit for. So it's pretty large for an individual file. So,
okay.
So it's pretty large.
Well, I don't have anything that's 5 terabyte yet. I do have a lot of music, but not.
Yeah, those add up.
Right. Depending on the quality, the music can take a large space or not. So, Andrea, you had a question about sync to Outlook. Hi, Andrea. Do you remember me?
Yes, you worked with my son too.
I know, I worked with you and your son.
At Anderson, right?
That's right. Yeah, I did the alumni database a long time ago.
That's right.
That's right.
My question's relating to my husband still uses Outlook on his PC. I went to the dark side, the Mac, and he is having trouble with what do you call that thing?
Syncing between different devices.
What's the name of the thing you use?
Oh, G-Sync.
G-Sync it. It never stays consistent. I'm wondering if he were to go in on this Google thing, would that allow him to sync using the Google Suite or Google Workspace to Outlook? And his calendar is where his problem is. Calendar and contacts.
I'm not sure. Gabriel, do you know?
You can choose where to save your contacts. I personally save my contacts within my Google account, and I do have them visible within Outlook. So that option is there. Otherwise, you can have your contacts saved within the Outlook as well. So there's an option to do both.
Can you do that for calendar, Gabriel?
No, but it's between the.
For calendar, I believe that would stick with Outlook.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
we'd have to
they're
look at that a
separate.
little closer.
Yeah, calendar I think is separate. Right.
What's been a complicated, and I've worked with this bit, is the syncing from Outlook to Google to an iPhone environment, and it's not working. And I was wondering, Google and Microsoft still are not friends, I guess, and they
Yeah.
haven't set up some smoothly integrated things. And it's funny because my son-in-law works for Google, and I've asked him, and we've had trouble with that. I didn't know if you guys knew any more about it because of the campus using the campus. Do they use Outlook still?
Yeah.
They
Yes.
do.
Yeah. We use, we use what's called Office 365, which is
Yeah.
the equivalent of what Google offers, right? But that's not available to retirees, so we didn't want to mention that too much about that today. It's if you're working here, or if you're mostly for employees, faculty and staff, it's an option.
that's okay.
Some students, Anderson has access to students also.
I'm just trying to
But once
figure
you
out.
retire, you lose that access. So that's why we didn't want to talk about that too much today.
I just wanted to know how someone would. I mean, we're both using Gmail. It's been terrific, but what and Apple integrates okay with Gmail. The Outlook has been a problem. That's why I was asking if maybe he should just go off Outlook then.
One option which is really good on the Outlook side is there is an Outlook app for iPhone and also for Android, and that lets you access all of your Outlook features within that app, and it's made a lot of things much more straightforward in putting everything together within the Outlook app on the iPhone.
What about on a PC?
Yeah, it's available as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I think the
thank you.
difference is Google and Microsoft products, they tend to keep their data separate, so it's kind of hard to mix them up.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, and there was just one last slide we had that was pretty much talking about what we're talking about here, of the other options that separate, free, not tied to what UCLA offers. There's the MicrosoftOutlook.com set of similar features that it has around email and cloud storage and photo backup service, and then Apple iCloud.com also provides the similar kind of Apple set of features, but that are limited. But the nice thing about the Google G Suite is that, because of the agreement set up with UCLA, it's a lot of a limited space there available for you. But we just wanted to share a few other options, and we'll share a copy of the presentation to Maria to share afterwards, of course. Any other questions?
Anything else that we missed that you want us to go over, or did this address some of your questions, concerns coming in?
Feel free to ask your questions. So do we not have any more questions?
I can come up with one. In Keep, I was using I think it was, I don't know if it was through Outlook, but it was called Notes on my iPhone. And I tried to attach something to a note, and I tried to put a picture in a note, and it didn't show up on other devices.
I use Notes all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I ran into that limitation in Notes, but maybe is it not a limitation in Keep possibly? If you use the Notes.
Yeah, Keep, you can attach images and photos and things like that. If you're using Microsoft products, there's something called OneNote, which is considerably better. I don't know if that's something that you've played with, where OneNote you can attach images and you can take a photo while you're taking notes and things like that. And Google Keep has the same functionality.
Okay, thanks. That's good.
So while you're writing the note, there's a little, I think again, it'll be a paperclip icon for attachment, and then you can actually attach from a file, or you can take a photo on the spot.
What do you suggest in a situation where you want to send an email through the UCLA system and you attached a very large file, like a large PowerPoint presentation, and it tells you it exceeded the size, whatever I forget the number, the maximum size for an email, but it's too large for that single. What do you suggest one does in that situation?
So one of the things that Google will do is if it's too large, it'll automatically convert it into a Drive file and then send a link to a person and give them access. The other option is what Google, Gabriel was showing you, right? You put you do it yourself, right? You drop the presentation into the Google Drive, and then you email the person the link. And you can share folders and files. When you click on an item, you can share that item with some specific person, so it's not open to the world. I don't know, Gabriel, is that easy to show?
The attachment and sharing the link
from Drive.
Yeah, let me try that. Yeah, let me share. I'll do it from the iPad since I have that set up. So imagine this photo is fairly large, and if let's see here. So or if I'm an email, maybe I should switch over to
Drive
email.
might be easier, yeah. Drive.
Oh, here we go. I attach. Look here, it lets me choose items that are within Drive. I don't think I'm doing a good job here showing. Let's see. Within the email application, if you've uploaded that item within Drive, I can select it here under this section are files that are shared, are within my Google Drive. And this one was the example of the picture that Kumar had sent previously. But imagine that was a large PowerPoint file, then I could send that over. And then it's automatic because it wasn't shared at first. So now it's prompting me to actually set the sharing options for that. So it'll be up. So it kind of does this automatically. Sharing settings in Google Drive will be updated so the recipients can view it. But I can go in here and do more options to say the recipients only, or anyone with Google Apps at UCLA, or continue without sharing, but that defeats the purpose there. But then you can say the recipients only, which is nice and controlled for just the person that you intend to share it to, and hit continue, and it now shared that file that I had placed within Google Drive. I didn't even have to go into Google Drive. Well, I went into Google Drive to save the file first, but within the Gmail application, it allowed me to share that. Hopefully that answered the question, and there'll be similar features within the browser version of Google of Gmail. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you.
So when you do that, do you need to grant access to the person that you're sharing with, or they'll just automatically be granted access to Google Drive?
They will get automatically granted access to only that specific
file,
file
okay.
within Google Drive. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do people actually back up their whole computers in Google Drive? And corollary to that, it made me a little nervous that you can share certain files with everybody at UCLA. It seems like you could accidentally share your whole backup.
Yes, that is a caveat to remember with that, because you are storing it in the cloud, which is essentially somebody else's computer, right? That's what the cloud is. And you do want to, now, because of the different apps, they Drive for files and documents and Photos for your photos, there are separate computer backup utilities that are available, something like Carbonite, where it'll let you encrypt your set an encryption code, and then it'll store all of the contents from your desktop into an external cloud location for backup. So the good thing about that is that, you know, if there's a damage locally, a flood or fire, you know, you at least have that backup stored elsewhere. And those desktop backup programs kind of take account of your whole computer's configuration, so that if you were to get a new computer, it'll easily allow you to restore everything onto that. The things with like the G Suite and Workspace that we shared here, it's mainly your files only or your photos only, which is nice, you know, if you're switching from one device to another. But if you want that whole computer backup scenario covered, then there are separate applications that cover that for you. Carbonite is one example that is popular. Backblaze is another that are out there, and those are
the question
typically
about Keep
for a few.
app on the iPhone. I think you just go to the App Store and you look for Keep, Google Keep, and you should be able to find it and install it.
Someone had a question: how does this work on the Mac, not just the iPad? So there are similar applications that you install on the Mac or the PC. So there's a separate Google Photos application that allows you to access the photos that are on your computer, and that provides the connection to G Suite, similar with the Google Drive application as well, and Keep. And then if two people have separate phones, can you merge photos in Google Photo? You can. You can create a shared album. I do this with my wife and kids, where we have a shared album, and anyone can upload photos into that shared album. We also have that with family members as well. When we were able to take trips together a long time ago, we can all post photos there that we can all share with each other, and it's a nice way to create as many albums as you like, and then share those out. And when the other person logs in, they'll see that album there, just as if it were, and they'll be able to add and subtract photos or files. Hope that answered the question there from Andrea on the Google Photos.
I just have one other question. The comparison of Apple's photo app compared to Google Photos. Do you know that? Have you compared both or not?
I personally have not, though since I have an iPhone, I do sync with Photos, and it seems like the Google Photos automatic features are a bit more advanced, because I have friends that have Google Photos, and it'll show like these nice collages and put things together automatically for you that seem pretty nice. It seems like on the Apple side, the Apple Photos is doing that as well, where you'll see memories and over time, and it'll even create little videos for you putting pieces together. So they're comparable. If I had to judge, I'd say Google Photos may be a little bit ahead there, what they provide, but you know, they're hand in hand there. They provide a lot of similar feature set.
So can you make photo books from that as well?
Yes, so I will share screen again here. And go into, hopefully that's coming up there. In Google Photos, there is under utilities. I thought I haven't done this, but I've seen this. I thought you could create a collage. Sometimes there's hooks into those photo album services built
Like
in with.
Shutterfly, yeah.
Yes, yes. I thought I saw that in here when we was looking at this earlier, preparing for the presentation. But if you create an album within here, then I believe like a service like Shutterfly would allow you to upload those
Okay.
photos into there and create the album. Yeah, I thought I saw it in here, but yeah.
Thanks.
Here, sure.
The question about ID, is that related to UCLA ID or something else? The last from Lori. Yeah, I think.
UCLA ID, because
Yeah,
I retired when Bruin, online was in its infancy.
right. Okay. Yeah, let me show that to you. Let me see. Where's my. One second. I think this is the one I showed earlier. To create a logon, you just do a search for UCLA logon. And then the second link is the UCLA logon. And if you go to that page, the first section says if you don't have a UCLA logon, create one. And then if you click on create, you agree to the terms. And then this is the best option to use. So if you can find your 9-digit UCLA ID, that would really be helpful because then it'll give you access to more things.
Oh, okay. So I just look for my ID number.
Yeah, you need to find your, so if you click on this option, it's going to ask you for your name, date of birth, and then your 9-digit UCLA ID number.
Okay.
Once you put that in, it'll give you access to these additional things and the G Suite, those things you will get access. If you create it without your ID, then you'll get almost nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I just responded to Kay's question about should you get separate virus software or just rely on Windows 10? And Windows 10 comes with built-in antivirus software, which is quite good. It's called Windows Defender, and that's included with Windows 10. No reason to add additional.
Yeah, we
softwares.
used to have something called Sophos and so on, which got dropped because we don't need it anymore. Did we miss anything?
Let's see, just scanning here, make sure we didn't miss anything. Hopefully we got all the questions. If there's any missing, happy to answer any more.
I want to go back to what you just said about the antivirus, because we get prompt all the time. We're using on the PC Norton, and it's combined now with LifeLock.
Yeah.
Which you got if you were on UCLA Health, because everybody got free accounts when they got attacked.
Right.
It's but they've so there really isn't a need to carry the Norton if you're on Windows 10. Then you could drop it, the Norton part.
That's correct. Yeah. So if you have Norton installed it disables Windows Defender because you really only want one antivirus running.
Ah,
But if so, it turns it off just so that there's no conflict. But if the Norton, after a certain amount of time, you do have to pay for it. So Windows Defender is free. So you can save some money there.
okay.
Yeah,
thank-
Norton,
Yeah,
there's usually a
you just
charge.
have to uninstall Norton and then make sure your Defender is activated.
And I thought does alumni get the Microsoft Office suite, the discount for UCLA or not? You said retirees do not have the privilege. So do alumni? Do you know that? I thought alumni did. No?
I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of on the Microsoft side, no.
Okay.
Though Microsoft offers their own free set of similar set of offerings
Okay.
at outlook.com.
Okay.
Yeah, Outlook.com. That's the one that includes all the free tools from Microsoft.
Yeah, outlook.com.
If I still have,
On the web.
Sorry?
if I still have access to Sophos, does that mean they haven't revoked my 365 yet? Or, should I switch anyway to Windows Defender? Is it less intrusive to the system, possibly?
It depends on where you got it from, I suppose, right? So if you got it from your work, or if you got it yourself, then it'll, as long as you keep paying it, I guess they'll keep giving it to you. You just have to, if you just want to switch to Defender, you can stop using Sophos and uninstall it.
Yeah, I guess work it, I guess, was nice to me and hadn't revoked it yet.
Right.
But I thought it might be maybe Windows.
At my work, they stopped supporting Sophos for us. We got rid of it.
I did get an email from UCLA that said that they were taking it all away.
Right.
But it hadn't happened yet.
Well, they don't physically take it away. They just stop supporting renewals, right? So at that point, you either have to pay for it yourself or switch. And these companies want to sell you stuff, so you have to be careful.
So I think we have one more question in the chat, and then I want to be mindful of both of your times to our presenters. So Lori is asking, once set up, are folders automatically transferred?
Yeah, so with Google Drive, you can specifically select which folders you want it to sync up to folders. So if you create a new folder on your computer, and then you can select that one to automatically sync within Google Drive.
Great, thank you. This has been really, really helpful and informative. I want to thank both Kumar and Gabriel for coming and bringing this information to us. And I think we're going to need a follow-up.
There's so much, right?
Yeah, we just touched on a few things here today.
Yeah, this was great, though. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'll be
Thank you.
closing.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I'll
Bye.
be closing out the chat and look forward to seeing you all later.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Great to see you.
Bye-bye.
Kumar.
Thank
Gabe,
you.
Bye.
Good to see you,
Bye.
Michael. Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.